Thank you very much, Dr. Elna. Very good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, sir.
Yeah, very good afternoon to our honored guests, my fellow panelists, the faculty members of all the institutions, and conference participants, as well as the conference organizers. And first of all, many thanks to the organizers for inviting me to be here today. I notice it's quite a big crowd here, 500 over participants. So it is a very good conference. And I would like to take this opportunity also to congratulate the institutions involved in this, the organizer, the Lady of Our Lady of Fatima University, as well as Ports World, being the leading organizers, I suppose. So talking about this logistic and supply chain, I think this is something interesting, especially when we are still going through with our what I call this pandemic still around us. Maybe I'll start with sharing this screen now and see how we can benefit from some of this experience I've gone through. So basically, I will be touching mostly on the career advancements. But before that, I'll just introduce myself. Uh, I'm, as Dr. Elna mentioned, that engineer by qualification. I studied civil engineering in University of New South Wales, Australia. And then due to my involvement with contracts in the project management, I studied the Bachelor of Jurisprudence, focusing especially on contract law. Then I was involved in the construction industry and specifically the consulting services. At once, I was the editor of the Institution of Engineers Malaysia monthly bulletin called Jurutera for the terms of 2009 and 2011. So my logistic journey actually started after I began my career in engineering. So I was a site engineer, project engineers, and then I joined this Klang container terminal, one of port operators in Port Klang, Malaysia. So at the time, they were still building their capacity. This KCT, short form of Klang Container Terminal, was the first entity, government entity. It was part of the container division under the Port Klang Authority. So it was first entity to be privatized under the Malaysia Privatized Program. Then evolved from Klang Container Terminal, it became Northport after it joined or merged with a sister company. And then I later moved on to the NCB Holdings, which is the parent company of both Klang Container Terminal and Container Nasional Berhad. Container Nasional Berhad is a haulage company, container haulage company, dealing with container movement and later on expanded to other logistic-related activities. So after I left the port in 2016, I was basically involved in the Chartered Institute of Logistics Malaysia. I became a council member and then Secretary General for one term in 2017 and 2019. And later on, I was appointed as a member of this International Management Committee of the Chartered Institute of Logistics International. And I'm currently holding the Deputy Chairman of International Business Forum, which is part of CLT International. So when we talk about logistics, I think this subject is becoming more important during the pandemic. big picture, we know what is logistic. It's basically, you talk about supply chain, and the big picture is involve a very integrated network. It's not only one way. There's so many players, industry players involved in this industry. So when we talk about, for example, suppliers, raw materials, if we want to get a product, the cycle or the movement starts from raw products, be it from another factory or from a farm. So the whole journey from source to destination is what basically supply chain all about. And I think we remember that the industry is evolved, from a simple one destination kind of thing, and it becomes more involved with other elements incorporated into the services. For example, instead of just we talk about warehouse, we talk about transporters, there are many other parties involved. For example, custom department, insurers, health departments. You're dealing with import-export, you have forwarding agents, shipping agents, so on and so forth. So there are many players. So as the industry evolves, we can see the players who are in advance or who want to upgrade themselves. We notice it become to be the 3PL, 4PL, 5PL. So this is a kind of groups that are providing logistic solutions. So for the customers, it's good. You don't have to worry about many things. Just go to like one stop center, then they will take care of what you need. So this, I think, we are now seeing more into like 5PL and 6PL. So things are becoming faster and efficient, more efficient in the industry. So in the short form, we talk about source, warehouse and transport, and destination. It's very simple. But the fact that there are many of this chain involved, then it becomes a network. So because of that, once you are involved with many activities, obviously there are opportunities for job, for career, So this is very interesting. For example, we look at how post-COVID industry, the industry in post-COVID, the new normal we talk about. There's so many changes happen, in the initial part, we realized how important the logistic and supply industry is when we have shortages of so many things, including the consumer products. Things are flying off the shelves. Bread, eggs, our normal need, normal consumption. But then when COVID started to have a real impact, then resources are becoming scarce. People are supposed to stay at home, not moving, everything almost stopped. Then we came up with SOP, which we had to comply. Because of that, certain, what you call this, industry, they can only operate at half capacity, the SOP only. So the downside is there will be a bottleneck somewhere. For example, transportation is very important. Then later on, we go to warehouse because the things have been building up. Warehouse is becoming full, running out of capacity. So these are the changes and challenges that the industry players, they have to respond to it. Like in the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, CLT, we came out with plan how to respond to this COVID challenge. So the most important thing is we have to go on. I think after some time, people realize that the best opportunity is to continue with education and online education, of course. People have better opportunities. At that time, we started to use online meetings, online conference. I'm sure even these students, they've gone through the same thing. You have online classes. Although before this, they have already been courses, online courses. Like for example, in Open University in Malaysia is under with Mr. Raj, is there. But then COVID has escalated the growth of this aspect of learning. So the challenges are many, you know. How do we prepare ourselves? I mean, the industry, how do the industry prepare and respond? So, of course, people start to talk about collaborations, you know, for international companies, for example, those who are doing in import business, now they're looking for suppliers who are maybe closer to home. Instead of previously we talk about globalization and all this, but some consideration will have to be given as to the accessibility of supply. And of course, subsequently, the distribution of the products or services. So, as I said before, in terms of prospect, we have so many areas that requiring people now, because definitely there'll be increasing demand for goods, movement of goods from one place to another. The growth, especially the e-commerce, the booming e-commerce, will require some changes to the way we do business. First thing, people expectation is things can move faster. They should get the product that they ordered faster and in a good conditions. So this is the area. E-fulfillment is one of the beneficial or one area that benefit most from, I think, this post-COVID. So now I've seen companies are looking for more warehousing to stock up their goods. So the moment I was involved with Mr. Raj in doing some kind of study on the preparedness of companies, port and all this to handle the increasing demand of e-commerce. So these are the challenges. These are the challenges. And because of that, you can see in terms of warehouse management, you need people who have the expertise. Maybe people go more to towards automation. So you need IT people there. So when we talk about all these job positions, it doesn't have to be really, it doesn't to start with full qualification in logistics. I myself, for example, I was trained as engineers, but once I was involved or I joined KCT, I started to learn more about the logistic industry, warehouse management, fleet management, and of course the whole operation within the port itself is a what you call this sort of supply chain. You know, from container yard to the ships. You know, we need to be timely, proper planning, and that kind of thing. So it's the thing that I basically learned on the ground. Of course, as I move up through my career, started to go for learning. For example, understanding this what is industry all about. Of course, this happened many years ago, and we had sessions with Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport in Malaysia. So they are offering professional courses where you can undertake as the first step to enter the industry. These short courses, you know, you don't have to go for the big one at the first, just to understand, to get the basic understanding of the logistic and supply chain industry. I think like Professor Ajay mentioned in the beginning, at the introduction, there's so many aspects now, especially on what we call this IR 4.0. We talk about how automation will be more important or will increase in terms of importance. So those who are trained in IT, for example, will have huge opportunity in this industry. Likewise, on business management, those who are in business management may feel that you are halfway there already, because a lot of this in the supply chain industry are basically management. It's just the application of this. And of course, like in any other career, you will have to upgrade or upskill yourself in terms of knowledge, in terms of your competency. So it's a natural. You can just go to many institutions, for example, supply chain institute, procurement institution. These are part and elements of this logistic and supply chain industry. Like Ports World, they have many courses offering for you to get some basic this. And I'm sure the other institution in this in attendance of this program still offering in specific, what you call this program for people who are interested to move to the industry. So as I said, there are plenty of room for career progression. You may be doing something not related to logistic or supply chain, but you find it's very interesting. And you can make a move, you know. You can make a move. And I can assure you, this is an industry that is growing and is going to be the most important industry in the future. So if you have that element, that value to enable you to join any industry for that matter, and especially this industry, I'm sure you will succeed in this, you know. I mean, you just need to tune in some of these application. You know, you have the knowledge, but then you can, what you call this, adapt yourself. So companies, of course, in the logistic, they will want people who like to face challenges, because they are going to be competitive, very competitive. And then if you have that kind of personal value, I from my own experience, I'll say these are the more important elements that, or values, that you should try to inculcate and build within yourself. Integrity, discipline with time. Of course, time is important in any area, even your personal life, very important. And for me, I was involved in time management, is especially project management. We talk about time. You can delay the project, otherwise you'll be fined and penalized. So, and of course, the third one, as I said, is adaptability. So then passion for learning. You don't have to what you call this, enroll in certain aspect of learning. You know, you can gain knowledge from reading, from going to the ground and knowing the nitty-gritty of things. That's how important is this. You know, like we in many areas we can understand better by going to the ground. And of course, you need to continuously look for opportunity to make an impact to the organization wherever you are. You cannot sit still hoping that things will come to you. You have to create opportunity, to create, to be innovative, so that you can be part of the solution. Because logistic industry is about providing logistic solution. So with that, I think that's all. I'm happy to answer any question, probably later on. With that, thank you very much for your attention.
Enlightening us in the topic professional upskilling and career advancement. You know what? To our dear participants who are with us in this room, it is very important that we that although we are still into this unusual setup of gaining skills for our and competencies, no, in relation to our degrees, no, in or in our programs that we are enrolled in, it is it is as equally important as gaining these skills using platforms that are readily available by just a single click. We are in the fourth industrial revolution, wherein all of the things that we are be needing will just be accessible to us by just a single click, a single hover, or a single select of a window, as what we are doing right now. And it's the one of the products of the fourth industrial revolution is having this international conference that is currently hosted via a virtual web conferencing platform. And sir, just to delve on the topic a little bit further, no, we have a bit of some questions that would complement this plenary session. You've said a while ago, sir, that upskilling is really important, even though we are confined at the comforts of our own homes and dealing with all of our lessons for the day or the tasks for the day. It is important to get these skills, have them acquired, no, and having to acquire these skills should have the energy and the vigor that is to be used before this pandemic happened. Like, we are in the universities, we are in colleges, wherein we get these skills through demonstration or through teaching or coaching. But now we are in another setup, and the face-to-face component of skills acquisition is substituted with the remote learning setup. So, sir, just to ask about this, what is the importance of professional upskilling in the logistics and supply chain management? This question is about it goes to our students who are doubtful still of getting these skills and acquisitions in the remote learning setup.
Yes, very good question, Prof. Ajay. The thing is that, of course, face-to-face can be done. What I would suggest, for example, to consider is to have a virtual tour, For example, in Malaysia, CRT Malaysia previously organized a virtual port tour, whereby we have a session like this, virtual session, but the participants are taken through a video journey from one department or one area to another. So that is giving like almost an experience, like you are walking through these areas. That is one. The second one is, of course, in today's world, you can always source out from videos, YouTube or something like that. In Google, you can learn. That's why I said you must have passion. One of the value is you must have passion to search for knowledge. Like the professional organization, once you join, even like ACCA, the Institution of Engineers, even CLT, once you become a member, you have to attend a certain amount or certain period of continuing professional education. It's a CPD, continuing professional development. I'm sure the same is in Philippines on this, So that is the way for professional to continue upskilling or upgrading their knowledge. because we must remember we need to change, we need to evolve, especially in the logistic industry. I think a lot of areas that have moved ahead, moved far from, say, 10, 15 years ago. Now we are doing things, many of things differently. E-hailing, for example, how fast is it? And same thing like the e-riding. You order your food. Those days you can't imagine. Getting somebody to buy food. Now you can choose what you want and get someone else to deliver to your house. So even in that, I just want to relate my own experience again. I say, you have to if you look at the operation of these riders delivering this food or what, there's a lot of learning aspect in there, lesson to be learned. For example, the safety aspect, which is important in this industry, involving movement of vehicles, be it the big container trucks or big machineries in the port. So all safety is one of the areas. So you can relate all this, but you must keep yourself thinking and wondering, So if you don't need answers, then go to Professor Ajay to ask for specific programs.
May not be the person who would give all the information needed by the students, but yeah, I do agree with you, sir, regarding that. It doesn't discount the fact that even though we are in an unusual setup of getting skills, it doesn't mean that the pursuit of getting these skills will come into a full stop.
That's right.
We really have to upskill using the platforms that we have been provided, and all of the avenues that we are going to pursue in the virtual world, because I think most of our educational service providers or training services providers or certifying bodies had already offered certifications and skill sets that are to be delivered in a virtual setup. And lo and behold, there are more online or virtual setups of these that delivers the same. Even it exceeded the usual skills that we receive on this discipline, because we are now experiencing sectors of the logistics and supply chain industry where we use the internet, and we use virtual connections to connect with our customers, to our to our co-suppliers, to deliver the services from the supplier side to the customer side. And I really like your partaking of the e-riding, both food and other items, because we too are experiencing it here. Like for a single click, you could buy a full course meal. So just for a single click, and that is thanks to the usage of virtual connections and the internet in the and it contributes to the continuity of the logistics industry. Would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, no. Talking about the certification, I think I would suggest that if institution like universities, colleges, and all these can start to or can have a collaboration with employers association, for example, to sell the value of your certification programs, so that they can see, okay, this is good. If I want to engage someone, I look at their aspect. They have this certificate, then they will be the first choice, something like that. So in this world, we are competing, otherwise the employer will ask, which one is better, which one is better. So how fast you do that? I'm sure you have this internship program, for example. Yeah. So move that to the next level. I've been suggesting this to a number of institutions. Move that to the next level. You have a proper collaboration, so that whenever your graduates are looking for something, go to this area first, these people first. Thank
You know
you.
what's Thank you, sir. You know what, sir? I highly regard our future partakers of the logistics and supply chain industry, and I'm pertaining to the students as warriors who are being trained in the barracks. And if
Yes,
they are going to graduate with a degree or with a program, it is as if they are being given weapons. They are being
yes,
given ammunition in order to defend their country or to defend any land that it needs to be defended in the educational setup or in the skills acquisition and validation setup. These ammunition, these weapons are called certifications. And let
yes,
us go
yes.
to the next question regarding that. Can you tell us something, or can you share to us more about the professional qualification offered by the CILT?
CLT, okay, CLT, they have a basic international syllabus.
Mhm.
They have a few levels, level 4, 5, and 6, which is equivalent to diplomas, and also to a certain extent, in some countries,
Mhm.
they make it equivalent to a degree.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you take that program, normally is I think about 3 years for a complete program.
Mhm.
Then you get that certificate, and at the moment, uh, I believe in the Philippines, someone is already setting up a CLT there. So with that program, you can be awarded this certificate. In Malaysia, the program is a little bit different. You have this one PQE program, professional qualifying examination. That means those are the strictly under CLT syllabus. But we also offer what we call embedded programs with universities and colleges. For example, if a university offers a Bachelor of Transport Management, then they can pick up the syllabus on transport management uh, produced by CLT to be endorsed and adopted instead. So once they finish their degree program, they will also get the certification that they are CLT members. So that is the current setup.
So that if I would rephrase this one, I think this is about equivalency. If I
Yes, basically
Mhm.
equivalence. But that
Okay.
the equivalent is in Malaysia, most of the program, I think about 24 or 25 universities and colleges are using the embedded program.
And just a follow-up question regarding these professional certifications. How important is it that one should apply or one should enroll in a professional certification course, given the fact that most of the skills that are being earned are earned through experience. I'm talking about some students who some stakeholders who had thrived in the industry because of sheer experience. How would we still serve to them the professional certification that they really need in order to thrive even more in the industry?
I think the difference is in the syllabus.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like when I took this engineering program,
Mm-hmm.
I still need to have kind of industrial experience. So industrial experience, I have to do like at least 3 months. I have to be trained under a supervisor to ensure that I get some of this basic experience. But then again, like anything, Professor, you yourself have to go and look for it. For me, I did the training 3 times. So at the end of every year, I go during the summer holidays, summer period, I go and look for this opportunity. End of second year, third year, and before I graduated in the fifth year, the fourth year. So again, the interest, it has to come from yourself. Otherwise, you can just get a piece of paper. The thing is, Professor, I said, how do you demonstrate to your potential employer that you have the capacity. You have the degree or the certificate is one thing, but how do you show to them? Because your what you call this, your interest should not start after you join. You have to show your interest before you join, then say, okay, this guy is I think you know what I mean.
So this goes to show that professional certifications is relevant in addition and in complement with the higher education degree or a vocational degree to be that is normally earned, before entering in the workforce, because we really need to rev up or to improve the level of quality of the quality level of skills that they are going to acquire. Well, we don't want to discount the fact that there are some who are learning from experience, but it goes to show that having to have these professional certifications would be still relevant even in today's world.
Yes, definitely, because especially you have a certification, means it has been certified by a body of professionals.
That's
it. Yeah.
That's really, that's an achievement if you have been certified by a body of a certifying body who are wherein the members are already seasoned practitioners in the industry. Before we move on to the last question, I would like to charge our participants. If you have any questions, you could use the question and answer feature on our Zoom chat box. Due to time constraints, our resource speakers will answer your questions live, or will type in the answers on the question and answer feature.
Yes, I would still be more than happy to do that.
Okay. Sir, we are now, in as much as we wanted to make this a longer conversation because this is a really interesting topic, we are just going to move to our last question for this session. We have now seen logisticians in the field. These logisticians are actually, if I can call it, they are versatile members of the workforce, because they don't just only plan for the delivery of supplies, but they also implement and they also monitor. Basically, the 5 functions of management are being done by just one single person, and that is called the logistician. Now, our question is, do logisticians hold very high positions in management of companies?
Well, I think now things are beginning to change, I mean, that's why the industry also has got to play a role to show how important they are. In those days, logistics or transport are considered as a backwater kind of industry. People have to get their hand dirty, that kind of thing, But as we can see now, there's so many changes in the industry. For example, I give you an example, the truck driver or container truck driver. They don't just drive anymore. They have to manage the what you call this equipment, little equipment in their truck. And some, they have to use that as a part of mini computers or something to transmit data. So that's why I say that means you don't see that the driver as somebody who doesn't need to need to have a qualification. They need people who can now be able to learn something, upskill, the higher skill of what you call this, or the job, higher skill. That's why when we talk about, when I was in the port, we talk about automation of port equipment, for example. And then the question rose about what's going to happen to the people who don't have that qualification. This is the responsibility of the employer to offer them opportunity to be trained, to be reskilled, upskilled. Then we don't have that issue. So instead of just doing a low-level job, now they have a higher-level job.
That is because of them being immersed in not only a single sector of their job description, but also being immersed into anywhere that they may get these skills. I've known some who are in the industry who are well established already, both in the Philippines and in the global aspect. Wherein, if we are just going to review their humble beginnings, they have been in the lowest parts or the lowest rungs of the society, and yet they rose up the ranks not because of anything but to experience the things that they really need to experience that is beneficial to where they are right now. And I believe having to be a logistician doesn't really need to be too techy or too humanistic. It must be in the middle. But they must have a clear understanding of how intricate the industry is in order to get to deliver the goods and services that the customer really needs.
Yeah, that's it's as I said, is partly responsibility of the employer. I just want to mention as an example, Air Asia, the chairman of Air Asia, Tan Sri Tony Fernandez, a few days ago, he showed his photo with a pilot. He was in the cockpit, and that pilot joined his company as a bag handler, and how he was given the opportunity to be trained, to upskill, to become a pilot. That is an example, you know. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Abi Sofian Abdul Hamid. Thank you very much
Thank
for being
you.
with us on the
My
first
pleasure.
plenary session.
Thank you.
And may we call don't stay on the frame, sir, because we will be awarding you the certificate of appreciation for being the resource speaker of the first plenary session. And to give you that, may we call in from the Global Professional Advancement, Ms. Susan Velasco.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sir RJ. So, First World Malaysia, in partnership with Global Professional Advancement, hereby awards this certificate of appreciation to Mr. Haji Abi Sofian Abdul Hamid in grateful acknowledgement of his unselfish sharing of time and expertise rendered during the third International Conference on Logistics and Supply Chain Management with the theme Career Advancement Pathways in Supply Chain Industry under the New Normal, Prospects and Challenges via Virtual Conference. Given this 20th day of November at Quezon City, Metro Manila, Philippines. Signed, Juray Raj Govindasamy, the Managing Director of Ports World Academy. Yours truly, the Operations Manager of Global Professional Advancement, and the President of Academy of Developmental Logistics Incorporated, Samuel C. Bautista. Thank you
Thank
very
you very
much,
much.
sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Back
Greatly
to you, Sir
appreciated.
RJ.
Thank you very much, Ms. Susan, for awarding our certificate of appreciation to our first resource speaker, Engineer Abi Sofian Abdul Hamid. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Terima kasih.
Sama-sama.
Okay.